Still Butler, still Butler. Boston Celtics, still Butler, still Butler. Oh yeah! Still Butler, still Butler. Boston Celtics, still Butler, still Butler. And a 19.
Beat Rob, Jim, Becca, J. King.
Still Butler, still Butler.
The Caesar on the court to get another ring.
Still Butler, still Butler.
Everybody in the chat now sing.
Still Butler, still Butler. Still Butler, still Butler. The Boston Celtics, still Butler, still Butler. Oh yeah! Shut your ass up,
Your daddy's always halfway there.
What up, what up, what up? It's me, Jay King from The Athletic, here with Brian Robb from MassLive.com. We are still potable, the greatest Celtics podcast ever, coming to you after the Celtics held off the streaking Pistons 117 to 114 to end the Pistons winning streak at 13 games. Celtics survived a 3-shot foul of Cade Cunningham with 4.4 seconds left. They escaped despite playing tons of small lineups, starting Luka Garza at center, using Amari Williams, two-way contract guy, for 15 minutes, throwing out Josh Minot and Jordan Walsh against a huge, physical, nasty Detroit Pistons team that offensive rebounds like crazy and has just big, burly dudes everywhere. And they survived Tony Brothers, too. Tony Brothers overturned the 2-shot call to a 3-shot foul.
He had such a good view, Jay. He had such a good view from the other side of the court on that.
It was interesting. I'm not sold it was the wrong call, but honestly, I respect him for making that call in a hostile environment in Boston to overturn it from 2 to 3. You got to have stones to make that call. Tony Brothers, if nothing else, the man has stones.
He's certainly not afraid of it. He's done it before in Boston. He'll do it in New York City. It doesn't matter where Tony Brothers is. He's going to sometimes make the game about him. And yeah, but that was just a footnote to what was a fantastic game, top to bottom. And where do we start, Jay, with this? I feel like tons of stories within the story here, but
a lot of stories from this one.
But it's kind of like, I kind of think we got to go with Derek off the top.
Got to be Derek. Has to be Derek. 25 points in the second half, matched his previous season high, and he did it after just scoring 2 points in the first half. Hit 6 threes in the second half after struggling all season long with his jumper. Shout out to Derek White. That was an enormous performance. He hit some tough shots. He hit 3 threes in the final 5 minutes as Cade Cunningham was making huge plays, as the Pistons were grabbing seemingly every offensive rebound down the stretch. Joe Mazzulla brought up the play in the second quarter when Jaden Ivey got the ball in transition, and Derek White went after the offensive rebound on the play and was literally like out of bounds and was chasing Jaden Ivey, who's one of the fastest players in the league, like just an explosive athlete, and caught up to him just before the opposite free throw line, like was sprinting after him the whole time, caught up to him, stole it from him, went the other way, threw an alley-oop to Josh Minot. And Joe Mazzulla brought that up as one of the 2 hustle plays that changed the game. He also said at that point he knew Derek was going to snap out of his struggles. And, man, he did that in a big way.
Yeah, and it's just wild to think that this has been, a top 6-7 offense with Derek shooting the way he was. But a game like this was just a reminder of the levels he can get to when he has it going offensively and just shooting confidently again. And like seeing a couple of those shots go in early in that second half clearly got him rolling, because this was offensively, this was a 2-man show for much of that second half against a full strength Pistons defense. And not only did you get the shooting from MJ, but like the defense down the stretch from White was phenomenal. Particularly the steal, or I don't know if it went down to the steal on Cade Cunningham, but forcing the turnover there in the last minute, like getting the Celtics the one stop really they needed to turn this into a free throw battle. Down the stretch for the most part.
Yeah, I mean he made every big play. To me it was just like he seemed almost reluctant at times this year. Like he's not hunting his shot. Tonight he was hunting his shot.
Yeah.
He started really looking for it. The three he hit with 3.5 minutes left when Jalen found him was just a nice play by Jalen. But the one after that, with 1:05 left, Celtics are up 1. There's like 12 seconds left in the shot clock, and he shoots a 31-footer off the dribble from the right wing. Like, it's a 1-point game. You could still plenty of time on the shot clock to look for something else. And he just said, fuck it. That's honestly, like, they need him to play with that mentality. He, quite frankly, has not been good enough offensively as a scorer this season. And there are a lot of factors that go into that. We've talked about the bigger role, a lot of the screening actions that made life easier for him with Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, the attention that those guys drew, not there right now. And so they have to find different ways to get him activated. And it's been a struggle for him. But tonight was a great start to coming out of that struggle, hopefully for the Celtics. And
were you ever worried about him though, Jay? Like
no,
Joe wasn't.
I haven't been worried about him at all.
And so that's and that's kind of he's earned that. This with just his play over the last 3 years in Boston now. And so even when, like, I don't know how, maybe if the slump lasted half the season, then you're like, okay, but this was a month, and the on-off stuff when he's on the court, like, was still where it was, and he's doing everything else he does beyond the shooting being there. So yeah, like if this turns a corner on this, a night like this turns a corner for him, being aggressive with a shot, getting comfortable in a groove there, particularly when he didn't really have a roll man with him to like open up the lane most of the night too. Like, that's the encouraging part of it. Like, it was just straight up like, I'm hitting threes again and I'm going to take these confidently, and like not having to like work his way inside out to get to that point, just it coming back to him in that way.
Yes, sir. More of that, Derek White. I thought the other biggest story was just like how flawed and vulnerable they are when they go small, but also they were able to overcome it with like a great hustle, with contributions from all of their wings. Like Shireman's first half was fantastic. The play where he tipped the rebound away, dove after it on the floor, threw a lead pass backward around the back from his ass to Josh Minot. And Minot ended up missing a dunk. The two Pistons met him at the rim. But
he got destroyed on that.
Yeah.
Not call a foul on that.
Definitely thought that was a foul. But the TD Garden crowd loved that sequence anyway. And I think it was because of Shireman's hustle, because Minot was fearless going at the rim. And that was the other play that Joe brought up that he thought totally changed the game. But like, if they're going to play small, they're going to, at least for parts of games, while Nemi is out. We saw it tonight. They started Luka Garza. And this is a matchup. If you were going to use size, this would be the matchup for it, because Duren is a monster, no matter what I said earlier this season when I was being a moron. And
you didn't look like a monster tonight.
Isaiah Stewart is a monster. I mean, he had how many offensive rebounds? 6?
He had 6.
6?
But like 4 of 10 from the field.
We'll give that monster status.
Right.
If you get six offensive rebounds, that's monster status. 16 rebounds overall. But they did a decent job limiting him, but it just showed like how active, how energetic you have to be to have a chance to rebound, to have a chance to hold your own when you play that small against the most physical teams. The Pistons like seemed like they got every offensive rebound down the stretch. Like almost every single one. I don't know how many they had in the fourth quarter. I'm checking that right now, but it was like it was a lot like the game in Detroit where the last 5 minutes of that game, the Celtics were getting stops, but not finishing that stop with a rebound. And today was very similar, but they kept scrapping. Like I thought one of the plays that stood out to me was Duran, I think it was Duran, was posting up White, and White like stripped him, and then Jalen came over and got in the mix, and just felt like everybody was just in the mix scrapping, and that's what they're going to need to be. I thought, what'd you think of Amari Williams's, not his debut, but his first chance at a rotation minutes?
Yeah, first meaningful minutes in the NBA. It surpassed expectations, given that my expectations were pretty low for him coming into a spot like this. A pretty tough ask. But I was impressed with the rim protection. He got called for one goaltending, but had a couple clean blocks there. I just like the fact, honestly, he'd go up and down the floor with like Duran and like not get beat. I think that goes a long way. And yeah, like we saw one good pass from him to perimeter. Obviously, he didn't take any shots. He got had 1 point, 3 rebounds. But I don't know. I guess I see why they went with him. It's not a great reflection of where the depth chart is, where the trust is with Joe Mazzulla and the rest of the options on his bench right now. It's a pretty terrible look that this is literally your number 2 option right now. But I also think it's encouraging that the Celtics win this game when he is their number 2 option in this front. And I think I expect to see him more this weekend after this performance.
Yeah. I thought just the fact that they played him at all goes to show you what they think of their front court.
Yeah.
And not only that they played him, he played the most of their actual centers. Luka Garza played 11 minutes, basically played the start of each half, and that was it. He had some trouble on the defensive glass, did not score, did not have an offensive rebound, like was pretty ineffective.
Got beat down the floor a couple times.
Yeah, Joe was not happy about that. And then Amari, like, I thought he was fine. It was an impressive from the standpoint of, like, hasn't been with the team, was just in Maine playing against Delaware. I don't even know the name of Delaware's G League team off the top of my head. He was just playing them in his last game. Showed up, kind of got thrown in the mix. Like Jalen said, it was a high-profile game, a marquee game against a Pistons team that had won 13 straight. You've got to play against one of the most physical front courts in the league. You got to deal with Cade Cunningham coming at you in pick and rolls. There's a lot to deal with when you're just thrown into a situation like that. I thought he was fine. He had a couple blocks. But like I didn't watch that and think, oh man, he earned minutes. If he continues to get minutes, it's because they don't trust any of their other bigs still. And maybe that's just how it's going to be. He'll play because they don't want Luka Garza out there for too long. And Xavier Tillman clearly is not part of Joe Mazzulla's plans right now. I don't know if Tillman is still feeling as healthy as he was in the preseason, but I think it's at least a little odd that he hasn't gotten a chance now with basically 2 games without Nimi, because Nimi got hurt 6 minutes into the win against Orlando. So Tillman's out of the mix. Josh Minot, I thought, did some pretty good things again. He's shooting really well from downtown. And Then then it's early in the fourth quarter. Josh Minot goes at Isaiah Stewart and drives right into his chest, has no prayer of making the shot, throws it up anyway. And then the Pistons came back and got a bucket. It was a pretty big bucket. I think it cut Boston's lead to 1 at the time. And Joe snapped. Even by Joe's standards, it was a snap. I wrote down what I believe he said in my notes. It was something like, "What the fuck, man? What the fuck are you doing?" That was what my very amateur lip reading suggested from however many feet away we are from the Celtics sideline. But it did not take a professional lip reader to know the gist of what Joe was saying there. He was fuming. And then he took Minot out for most of the the remainder of the fourth quarter after that. Put him back in with like 17 or 19 seconds or something to
For that, like that defense possession.
Yeah.
Young Cade. Yeah. So that's going to be fascinating now that, like, as the depth chart, we will see how long Nimi's going to be out here. But the lessons learned, the playing through mistakes situation, there's some mistakes that are going to earn you a spot on the bench regardless of Joe right now, no matter what, with some of these guys. But Jordan Walsh was up to the task to come in and take over after his 6 big minutes against the Magic.
My pick, my draft,
your pick,
Jordan Walsh.
Jordan Walsh crunched. You're right.
So for those who don't know, in our last podcast episode, the free episode of Still Potable, we drafted the 6 best Nimi replacements for while he's out.
For crunch time.
Amari Williams was a 3rd pick for Packard, and Packard got him and Minot at 3 and 4.
I got Minot.
You got Minot.
Yeah.
So Packard was taking a victory lap with his Amari Williams pick at halftime. And it's like, what's he doing? He's playing. He's out there. What is he really doing? Jordan Walsh, though, I'm ready to take a victory lap. Give me that victory lap. No, there are no victory laps at this point. The Celtics front court is in shambles. That is why they are going as small as they are. That is why they're trying new shit. And we'll see if it sticks. But they were able to overcome their many flaws in this one by hustling like hell and making a ton of threes. As Joe pointed out in his post-game press conference, it covers up a lot of mistakes when you shoot 47% from 3.
Yep. 55% in the second half, 11 of 20. Walsh did play more minutes than anyone in the second half, 20 minutes. And I don't know if they got the kinks out a bit in that Magic. They looked obviously terrible defensively in the game that was pretty much decided on Sunday there, but they looked a lot better in this one. Again, I don't know if it's the effort part of it you went over, Jay, but like scrapping. But Walsh was like very solid battling all night long and didn't put up much in the way of numbers in this game, but was front and center from battling down low.
4 assists, 2 steals. Oh,
yeah,
he put up some numbers.
No, I mean like points wise was like not. Yeah, but like I said, was doing everything else from that standpoint, from battling down low to being, switching on to Cade Cunningham on the last play where Derek White got the steal with forced a steal of 11 seconds left. So that was big. And the other guy we haven't talked about yet, who I thought was pretty phenomenal in crunch time, was Jalen.
Yeah.
The decision making, Jay, I think, from finding a shot to finding his teammates to having the huge like rim stop on Durant at one point there, like that was for a team that had a lot of crunch time tough moments in the season so far. This was pretty much the polar opposite. I think Jalen was right next to Derek being front and center for those.
Yeah, and it was just he had there was an indomitability to him today. Like he missed a ton of shots, especially early. He had 5 turnovers. He didn't get a bunch of foul calls that he wanted. Things were going against him for much of the game. And to be able to keep grinding, I thought he really did a nice job defensively. He made some big plays down the stretch. There was one play where they found Duran rolling to the rim, and Jalen was a help guy. Met him, jumped up, met him, not quite at the rim, but close to the rim, forced a miss, and then in transition found Derek White for the 3 that put the Celtics up. I think it was 4 at that point. And yeah, I thought he was very, very poised. This was like it really was a pretty bad game from him for a while.
First
But
quarter was like 1 of 8 from the field.
yeah, and
Terrible.
he just kind of turned it around, and he didn't let it stop him. He didn't let anything stop him. He ended up with an obscene amount of shot attempts, 32 field goal attempts, plus 8 free throws. So that's another 4 shooting possessions. That's basically 36 shot attempts in 34 minutes, which is a lot. But he had 10 rebounds, he had 2 steals, he had 2 blocks, 33 points. And the compete level for all the guys was high. And you could just feel that they considered it a big game. Like the Pistons came in with a 13-game winning streak. It's weird that like the players see the Pistons as a big game, but they are now. And I thought Cade Cunningham was fantastic too. Like Cade Cunningham was so good. He was overpowering guys, getting to the rim. He's so strong. For a while it felt like he was going to find a way to get the Pistons to the finish line, but couldn't quite get it. He hit that tough fadeaway from like the baseline. He had some really, really impressive plays, and yeah, he's going to be tough to beat in the playoff. This is a team that they have a chance to, especially the way the Eastern Conference is. Like, it wouldn't shock me if Detroit gets to the finals.
Agree. I think they need to get him a second guy though for a late game. Like if a viable second scoring option. And I don't know if
you have no respect for Duncan Robinson, bro.
I'm not Duncan Robinson.
You have no respect for Karis LeVert?
Karis LeVert, no. I do not. I've seen those men in the playoffs many times. With far better teammates around them. Tobias Harris not gonna cut it. And during like in a game like this, like he didn't score. He was 0 for 2 from the field in the second half. Despite the Celtics not guarding, not playing real centers against them. And so that to me, like the fact that him and like Beef Stew were not able to like take over this game from the inside because the Celtics, I mean, you give Celtics some credit for that, but I also say that's kind of reflective on those guys here. And offensively too, of Jalen and Derek down the stretch, I don't think you can underrate like outside. They started Garza. Amari Williams only played a minute in the second half, like in the fourth quarter, I should say. So like they really went small a ton down the stretch, and that opened up the floor for those guys a lot. And like you said, like this is kind of like the scrappy small ball look we may thought of like they might lean to more of this year, and now this injury is paving the way for that. So I'm curious, like Jalen going against like getting to the lane and stuff late in this game, like being able to beat Detroit bigs, like that's stuff that's just not there for him, obviously, unless you have this type of lineup on the floor. So I wonder how much Joe sees that against a team like this and keeps that in his back pocket. I thought he did a really good job of managing this game, Jay, like in terms of like throwing wild lineups out there early in the game that worked, and then picking with the right guys down the stretch, going away from Simons, I thought was like pretty smart given how this game was going, and then closed out with a group that worked.
Yeah, and you look at it, it's like Baylor Shireman, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Just like everyone expected.
Sure.
Jordan Walsh, 29 minutes. Minot 19 minutes, so that they and Ugo played too. He played about 7 minutes, so they relied on all the wings, and I think that's one benefit of going small is that you have places for those guys because I think they all deserve minutes, all of them.
Yes.
And this is gonna reap benefits for you having Baylor Shireman and Jordan Walsh and Josh Minot and Ugo Gonzalez playing minutes in a game like that against a high quality opponent with the ESPN eyes on you, and you're in the fourth quarter trying to keep Detroit from getting that 14th straight win. There's just pressure there, and those moments are going to help those guys. And so I think Nimi's injury, like at first, it was kind of like, oh my God, they've been so bad without him on the court. What are they going to do now that he's hurt? But I think this will be a blessing because I do think when he comes back, they'll end up playing small more often behind him. And this will be something that this isn't just going to be like a flash in the pan. Oh, they go small because they have to when Nimi's gone. No, I actually think like this is something that they've found now and that they'll go to more often, even when he does come back.
100%. Like these are the guys that are worth developing on your roster right now. And while also probably giving you the best chance to win on second units most nights. So it's like that combination is what the team needs. And on top of it, it's like if you're gonna like defensively, it's like it gives you a better chance against a team like the Pistons. Like you have all those guys are scrappers, and that's what you need to survive. Playing those wings together. And so you look at that, and I look at the minutes from this game, Jay. Like Jalen played 34, like Derek played 31, and I wonder like they were able to like survive enough without those guys like playing 36 to 40 minutes. And I wonder how much that helped them in crunch time too.
The start of the fourth quarter, the lineup was bonkers.
Right?
Bonkers.
When did they go all bench? Was that the second?
That was the start of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
they were up 3, start of the fourth quarter. Josh Minot at center, and then it's Baylor Shireman, Ugo Gonzalez. Was it Sam Hauser and Anthony Simons?
Yeah, that also.
I was like, what is going on out here? They might give up a 12-0 run. Instead, they hit 2 threes quickly. Pritchard came in for Simons after like 3 minutes or so, and it actually worked out totally fine. But when Joe went to that lineup, I was like, oh, wow. He's sitting all the starters at once? And he's using Josh Minot at center? And Anthony Simons is the only ball handler out there? Like, is this going to work? Is this going to be just a disaster? But it worked out well enough. And it was interesting to me in this one that, like, when it got to danger time, they continued to rely on Baylor Shireman. They continued to rely on Jordan Walsh, and they rode the energy and the bigger wings. The NBA is about big wings. You have to have big wings, and if those big wings can do stuff on both ends of the court, that's awesome. Today, at least Baylor Shireman could do stuff on both ends of the court. He hit a bunch of shots early. He had like the pull-up where he was like just kind of meandering his way, pull up on the baseline.
Yep.
He had the little turnaround in the lane which is funny because in college at Creighton, that was something he went to all the time, a little turnaround in the lane. He was so good at getting to the spots and knocking that down. He has rarely ever even tried that in the NBA. But today he got to it, knocked it down, hit a 3 with like 3.8 seconds left in the first half, but then Thompson came right back and hit a 3 for the Pistons. It really was like, it was an awesome game to watch. It was a super entertaining game. It was back and forth. Both teams were playing at a high level. Cade Cunningham was fantastic. Celtics just had every answer. Derek White, like, the shots he was hitting in the second half, just consistently knocking them down. It was a big time game from him. It was such a fun game to watch. Then you had the Tony brothers angle to it all. It was great fun to watch. Just beautiful fun.
Give me more of those. This was like just that brand of basketball. And again, having been a lot of duds in the schedule to start the year in terms of opponents, interest level. So it's now we get, I feel like, a bunch of these coming up. And this was a fun way to see this team react. And like you said, like fun. I think they're getting to the right lineups here. That should help them. And Shireman too. He had that great first half offensively. And I like too, Jay. Like he didn't force it in the second half. He was like out there a ton, but he only took one shot in the second half. But he was still like, I feel like playing good basketball in that. So that was like a guy, he didn't try to, go for heat checks in the second half. He didn't
do the Baylor Shireman. Did pull up from 30 in transition.
Yeah. He's learned his lesson a little bit. He sees Joe going after other guys, and he's like, all right, I can take a back seat here to these.
It will be interesting to see, because now like the Celtics need Josh Minott.
Yes.
Josh Minott is no longer, as long as Nemi is out, Josh Minott is no longer like a maybe.
Luxury.
Yeah, he's not a luxury. He's a necessity. And so I don't think Joe will shy away from yanking him anyway, at least when he does the stupidest bullshit that he does. But it'll be interesting to see whether Joe changes even a little bit to give him a little bit more leash than he's had so far this year, because Josh Minott does not have much leash. When Josh Minott screws up, and a lot of them, to be fair, are like pretty major screw ups. But when he does have those brain farts, Joe's just like, come on out of here, bud. You're sitting down. But now they need him. And they can go to other options. You could throw in Tillman. You could use Garza more. Amari Williams. Jordan Wallace has been viable at center the last couple of games. But you also kind of need Josh Minott right now, whether it's at center or whether it's to just give your more size and athleticism in some bigger lineups that you have. So, yeah, we'll see if Joe changes. Probably not, but we'll see.
Revenge game coming up Saturday.
Ooh, Josh Minott revenge in Minnesota.
Buckle up.
Revenge in Minnesota. Should be a telling weekend for the Celtics. That they're in a tough part of their schedule right now. So they fly to Minnesota, then Cleveland on the second leg of a back-to-back after that one. Then what do they have after that?
They got the Knicks back here on Tuesday.
Then it's the Knicks. Then you get a good one against the Wizards, but then you play the Lakers and the Raptors, who can't lose all of a sudden, which is kind of wild.
Yeah, well, they got 9 in a row.
Then the Heat, then the Raptors again. Like, this is a tough stretch.
Yeah, this was a big win tonight, given that stretch coming up.
Big win.
And Minnesota, I think they lost tonight in OKC. They've lost 3 in a row, so they're going to be
that's a tough
hungry.
spot.
That's a tough spot for their. And then Cleveland back-to-back. Yeah, so if you can, if you got 5 games in 7 nights here, I think you go 2-3 in this stretch. That's a win for the Celtics, given how if Nemi's out for most, if not all those. I imagine even if he is back, he's not going to be playing back-to-backs. Coming off an ankle injury like that. So, but for now, your 10-8 Boston Celtics are in the playoff picture in the Eastern Conference for now, and it's the first time they're
the happiest you've seen Joe Mazzulla in 2 years.
Oh my God,
he was on cloud 9.
Long, detailed answers.
Yeah,
to our questions after the
he
game.
Was so fired up. He loved the effort that they showed. He loved that they were out-talented, outsized, out-powered, and still got a win. That's the win. Shit that jacks him up.
Yeah, he should. All credit to him. That was top to bottom. That was a hell of a win against a Pistons team that is probably not as good as the record says, but damn it, they have cruised through the Eastern Conference so far. So if that's to me the top of the East, then yeah, Celtics should be feeling very good about themselves tonight.
We will end it there. For your purposes as a listener, we will not have a Friday show this week. It's Thanksgiving. We're going to be traveling. We're going to be hanging out with our loved ones. And so this will count as the Thursday show and the Friday show. We're sorry about that, but it's the holidays. We love you all. We'll be back as usual next week with Monday through Friday coverage. We'll have something after the Timberwolves game as well. And so that can sort of be the Friday podcast, I guess. But
yeah, just bumping it a day. Just bumping it
another day.
Another day.
Bump it another day.
But happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And
happy Thanksgiving. Honestly, you guys' support means a lot. We love you guys. It's very rewarding to have the community that we have and to have people who listen to us all the time. Like, I never take that for granted. I never take it for granted that you guys spend real money to listen to us and be a part of this. That's the coolest thing ever to me. So thank you guys. Enjoy the holidays. Have fun with your loved ones. And we love you, man. We really do.
Still bottle, the Boston, still bottle.